but it's a mindset. If they want to go younger and think Jordan's ready to go, then that might be the way they want to go. And if that's the case and I still want to play, then there's only one option, right? That's to play somewhere else.
Aaron Rodgers could very well join the Las Vegas Raiders. Ian Rappaport recently said on the Pat McAfee show that the Packers are open to trading Aaron Rodgers. And Rodgers keeps sending all kinds of cryptic messages through the media, whether it be about his former wide receiver Davante Adams.
Obviously losing Davante was a big deal. We didn't fill that void, and nobody can. He's superhuman. He's phenomenal,
or how he's not into any kind of rebuild and he has Super Bowl aspirations.
If there's a rebuild going on, I won't be a part of that. There's no point in coming back if you don't think you can win it all.
And now NFL insider Adam Schefter has reported something insane about the Rodgers situation. Not only are the Packers obviously open to splitting with Rodgers, but if they did trade Aaron Rodgers, it would be to a team outside of the NFC. And now the question is, what QB needy team in the AFC would Rodgers be interested in playing for? There is only one team that makes sense in my opinion. A team who has Davante Adams, who Aaron Rodgers already knows, and they could both hit the ground running. And what's even more interesting is recently Aaron Rodgers was talking about his situation with the Packers, how he might split if they do not re-sign certain guys.
It's about the players you play with and count on, even if they don't maybe show up huge in the stat book. A guy like Mercedes Lewis, he's an important cog in the wheel of the locker room and the momentum of the team. That's a guy I want to finish my career with.
And one of these guys who he said is a great locker room guy is Mercedes Lewis, the tight end. And what is so crazy about him mentioning this guy specifically is the fact that we saw Davante Adams post on Instagram hanging out in what looks like the Bahamas with, Mercedes Lewis. And what's crazy is these other players who Rodgers mentioned who are great locker room guys are all in positions where the Raiders have need, whether it be right tackle, number 2 outside wide receiver, or tight end. And the reason why we say tight end is because Foster Moreau's contract expires. We do not know if the Raiders are going to offer him a new contract. And we know around the draft, there were reports that the Packers were interested in trading for Darren Waller. And it was also rumored that Darren Waller may in fact have been originally a part of that Davante Adams trade, but they eventually decided to re-sign Waller. And there is a way that they could move on from him next year and not eat too much dead money. They would still save a net $3 to $4 million. And so if the Raiders wanted Aaron Rodgers, Darren Waller could be a part of that trade package. The Raiders would not have to give up any of their draft picks. And we know Aaron Rodgers has acknowledged that the Packers themselves may in fact want to move on from him.
But to be open to the possibility, if I want to keep playing, that it might be somewhere else, I understand that. I understand they might want to move on and go younger at a number of different positions. That's a part of it.
And the Packers also know that they may not be able to receive a high draft pick from Aaron Rodgers because of his contract. Whoever trades for Rodgers will be on the hook for $58 million guaranteed in 2023. The cap hit, however, will only be $31 million. You're just going to have to guarantee this guy a lot of money and give him a fat bonus. And the Packers have until exactly March 17th to find a suitor for Aaron Rodgers, or else they're going to be on the hook for this $58 million. And we know Aaron Rodgers is older. He's kind of unstable because he questions retirement every single year. And this was the same case with Brett Favre back in the day, and the Packers ended up trading away Brett Favre to the Jets for only a 4th round pick. So it would really not be that surprising if the Packers only yielded a 4th round pick for Rodgers. And we know for a fact that Rodgers also wants out. He wouldn't even be mentioning that it's an option unless he did want out. Rodgers says he does not want to be part of a rebuild, and that seems like what the Packers are doing as they roll with these young receivers who have not impressed Aaron Rodgers.
Just because we're a young team, we can't just write that off as, they're figuring it out. The rookies are figuring this thing out, and they're going to go through their rookie wall and blah, 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 bullshit.
So we have seen Rodgers mock the development of these receivers at times.
It's unfortunately some of the same guys. That's repeat mistakes are a problem. The young guys, especially young receivers, we got to be way more consistent. A lot of drops, a lot of bad route decisions, run the wrong route. So we gotta get better in that area.
We know that Aaron Rodgers will only be traded to a team that he wants to play for. And so the chance to reunite with Davante Adams puts the Raiders at the top of that list. But the question really is, do the Raiders want Aaron Rodgers? Does Josh McDaniels, the head coach, want Aaron Rodgers? Does Mark Davis, the owner want Aaron Rodgers. The Raiders need a quarterback, and in some ways, Aaron Rodgers makes more sense than Tom Brady. Rodgers is shockingly 6 years younger than Brady, even though he looks about 20 years older. But who knows, Brady has been rumored to preserve his youth in numerous ways, so perhaps that's why he looks younger than Aaron Rodgers. And Tom Brady is also familiar with Josh McDaniels' system. They could hit the ground running. And we also know that Josh McDaniels does not adapt to his players. He wants them to fit his scheme. And that is why Josh McDaniels and Derek Carr did clash at times. And there was even reports that Genius Josh got upset at Derek Carr for calling some audibles and changing the plays in the Seattle Seahawks game this past year, even though the Raiders ended up winning that game probably because of Derek Carr's audibles. So perhaps Genius Josh would clash with Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers is not afraid to call out the coaches. Aaron Rodgers is definitely going to change the play if he thinks it's the right thing to do. And we've seen him even with Matt LaFleur be not afraid to get confrontational. And perhaps Aaron Rodgers is just too big of a personality for Josh McDaniels, especially if Josh McDaniels does not really know him personally. And we know Mark Davis seems to be in love with Tom Brady. When Tom Brady visits Vegas, Mark Davis has googly eyes, he stares at him, he smiles, seems infatuated with the guy. But Aaron Rodgers gives you most of the same perks that you get with Tom Brady. The media is always focused on Aaron Rodgers, he's a huge spectacle, so the Raiders and Mark Davis would get those fat TV ratings. They would be the talk of the NFL no matter what with a star like Rodgers on the team. But the reality is that an Aaron Rodgers trade away from the Packers for the first time ever in history is real right now and feels like it can actually happen. And the Raiders are one of the few teams in the NFL that fit the criteria for preferred landing spot for Aaron Rodgers. They're one of the few teams that has the cap space and the money to afford the guy. They have weapons that he knows personally and likes. And for the Packers, they are in the AFC, and that is exactly where Green Bay wants to send him. They don't want this guy competing in their same conference. The Raiders, however, are the favorite to land Tom Brady. And it seems like the only way that Aaron Rodgers to the Raiders will be possible is if Tom Brady decides to retire or decides to go to a different team other than the Raiders. And Tommy Boy seems a little angry, so hopefully he retires.
Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do regarding your football career?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already fucking done it, okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
I sense you're antagonized by the question.
It does seem like that Josh McDaniels and Mark Davis would ultimately prefer Tom Brady over Aaron Rodgers. However, their superstar wide receiver Davante Adams may have a different opinion. The Raiders could also land a great quarterback in the draft, and they actually have scouted him already earlier this season. Make sure you check out this video right here where we have the full story on the Raiders and Anthony Richardson. My name is WiFiWillie. Peace out, and I hope you have a good one.